I found out my child is my brother's. I decided to divorce. My parents begged me to stay silent because my father-in-law invests in their company. I, Abel, 28, male, have been married for 3 years, and my wife, Belle, 26, female, and I have been together for 6 years. We had our first child a few months ago, but I only recently discovered that the baby is my brother's biological child. My brother, Kane, 32, had been having an affair with Belle for the previous 3 years. It began just a few weeks after our wedding, and I had no idea until a few weeks ago. To be honest, I had been having trouble connecting emotionally with the infant for some reason. I had been feeling like a bad father because I didn't feel very attached to my own child. I still don't understand why that was happening. Maybe it was just a gut feeling. One night I was discussing this with Belle, and I burst into tears because I felt so guilty. Instead of soothing me, she began sobbing uncontrollably. That's when the full truth came out. She agreed that it wasn't my fault that I didn't feel connected to the baby. The baby wasn't mine. She had already received the paternity test results, but chose not to inform me. She said the affair ended shortly after she discovered she was pregnant, and that she and Kane had no contact with each other anymore. She wanted to focus on me and our marriage. But once she told me the truth, it was too late. I started packing right away and left despite the fact that it was late at night. Since then, I have been staying at a hotel. Belle attempted to stop me. She was quite furious, but I just left. I even blocked her so she couldn't reach me. Since then, this has drained a lot of my emotional energy. For the first few days, I couldn't process what was going on. I did not even inform my parents about it, but they found out thanks to Belle and Kane. Instead of comforting me, they called, said they knew everything, and then began telling me that whatever had happened was in the past. They claimed that Belle had made a mistake, but as her husband, I had to forgive her, put everything else aside, and focus on our family and our marriage. I had no concept what they meant by family because the infant was not mine. It was ludicrous of them to add VYSE that I raised the baby as a father and stay with Belle despite everything. I believed they were insane, but my dad eventually told me the reality. Apparently, this was merely a commercial transaction for my parents. My father-in-law intended to invest in my father's failing logistics business in order to restore it. My father-in-law runs numerous established enterprises and is financially secure. I knew my parents were always impressed with the family I married into, but I never imagined it would mean so much to them. Apparently, this investment has been in the works for quite some time, and they intended to surprise us with it in a few weeks once everything was finalized. However, divorcing Belle would have a negative impact on their personal ties. They were concerned that my father-in-law would reconsider investing in the firm. According to my parents, my father sorely needed this money to keep his firm running. That's why they wanted me to suck it up, remain silent, and not make a big fuss about it. They wanted me to pretend everything was fine, raise my brother's child as if it were my own, and forgive my unfaithful wife, all in order to complete their commercial agreement. I was so horrified. I hung up and blocked them. Then, just for good measure, I started looking for a lawyer right away. As soon as I met someone suitable, I filed for divorce. Belle was served approximately 3 days ago. On the same day, I decided to contact my parents-in-law, every business acquaintance of my father that I knew, a couple of employees in my father's firm, a few family friends, and some cousins to inform them of my current predicament. It took me a few hours to get everyone's email addresses, but once I did, I notified them all about my wife cheating on me with my brother. I also confessed that my parents had encouraged me to remain silent and pretend everything was normal so that they might acquire an investment. Then I sent an email. Now my folks are inundating my phone with emails, SMS, and phone calls from numerous numbers and accounts. They are really furious about what I have done, since of course, they will no longer receive that investment. On top of that, they have lost their reputation. They want me to apologize as if that will resolve everything. They also informed me that Belle is distraught and has been diagnosed with postpartum depression, suggesting that my actions will only make matters worse. She is really miserable, and they are attempting to make me feel bad, but honestly, I don't feel awful about anything. I think they earned it. So am I for exposing the truth about my wife and parents, embarrassing them in public edit. Okay, I see there are a lot of questions concerning Kane, his relationship with Belle and me, and other things, so I will address that. Kane and I had a fairly normal connection, as most brothers do. The entire event was totally unexpected. We haven't spoken once since finding out. Kane had an apparently typical connection with Belle. I never suspected there was anything going on between them. Furthermore, Kane had always been a loner who had no interest in sticking with one woman for an extended period of time. His job forced him to travel frequently, and aside from that, he was spontaneous and always on the go, completely unlike me. From what I understood, he was never Belle's type either, in appearance or demeanor, so obviously none of this made sense to me. Belle informed me that they just started hooking up after we got married, and it ended when she discovered she was pregnant. She might be saying the truth or not, but even then, I saw nothing strange. They were just very excellent at concealing it. Whatever it was, I always assumed they were only friendly with each other. I'm not exactly sure why Belle cheated on me. When she was attempting to persuade me to stay and justifying herself, she mentioned how I overworked at the beginning of our marriage. I had just started working because I did not want to continue my father's business. I knew I needed to work hard if I wanted to advance. Sure, some may say I was serious about my profession, but I never overworked or carried my work home with me. I believe she was just bored and wanted an excuse to meet up with someone else, which is exactly what she did. Any other reason she pro-VYDA is only an attempt to rationalize her BHA-VY, or because she does not want to recognize that this was totally her fault. That is pretty much all I know about Kane and his relationship with Belle. Update 1. Thank you all for your comments and support. It means a lot to me, especially given my current situation. Everyone hates me, whether it's my parents or my in-laws, because they believe I embarrassed them by informing so many people about what Belle did, including those who didn't need to know. It's been a few days, and I've spent every second either drowning in work at the office or returning to the hotel and deleting the innumerable texts and emails my parents continue to send me from various accounts. They are absolutely relentless. They're simply not going to quit. I try blocking them, but they keep creating new accounts and numbers. I'm not even sure why they're going to such extremes. The damage is already done. My apologies will not change the reality, nor will they become more respectable. My in-laws reached out to me a few days ago. They explained that my email was entirely unnecessary. They discovered who else I had emailed it to and accused me of sending it to a group of indie VY duels my parents knew solely to disgrace them. However, they alleged that because I did so, Belle was also humiliated. I don't understand why I should feel awful about that. That woman literally cheated on me with my brother and was content to let me believe the baby was mine, enabling me to raise my brother's child as my own until she broke down that night. She did something disgusting. She completely earned this. I didn't bother responding to my in-laws since I really just want to move on from this. I'm currently waiting for Belle's lawyer to react to the divorce filing. In my opinion, I've been quite fair, and I just hope she doesn't complain about anything. As for the baby, it isn't mine, so I won't be donating anything. I might be the father mentioned on the birth certificate, but that makes no difference to me. I don't detest the baby or anything. In fact, the baby is the only fully innocent indie VY duel in the whole affair. I honestly feel horrible for him because he will pay the price for his parents' misdeeds. Even still, it is not my job to care for a child who is not biologically mine, especially if the real father is my brother. If Belle brings up anything regarding the kid, I already know I'm not going to accept responsibility. I'm basically ready for every potential circumstance because I have no idea what to expect right now. I haven't spoken to Belle since I left, and I don't want to ever speak to her again. I know she is unhappy right now. Enough people have told me so. Even as I was Leah VYing, I could tell she was really sad. I just hope her pain doesn't lead her to believe she can dispute the divorce and con VYNC me to stay because that will never happen. At all costs, I will do whatever it takes to get out of this circumstance. In the meantime, I'm hoping she doesn't drag this out and make things much more difficult than they currently are. Please keep me in your prayers, and I hope she does not oppose the divorce and make matters worse for everyone concerned. She still has a few days to respond, so I'm praying she makes the correct decision. Update 2. Hello everyone. It's been a week since my last update, and today I finally received a response from Belle and her lawyer. Fortunately, she is not opposing the divorce, but now there's another issue. She has pro-VYDA child custody agreement insisting that I step forward as the biological father. She even wrote a statement stating that because I am included on the birth certificate, even though I am not the biological father, I have been involved in the baby's life for the past few months and must accept responsibility, whether I like it or not. It was infuriating. The name on the birth certificate is meaningless in comparison to the paternity test findings, so I immediately contacted my lawyer, and we decided to proceed with disestablishing paternity. That way, I can be legally released from all obligations for the infant. Until the legal process is completed, I will be presumed to be the legal father, but the infant is just 4 months old, so I don't believe it will matter too much. I'm still optimistic that the procedure will be done shortly. My lawyer promised me that the process would not be difficult given the baby's age. My absence is unlikely to have any effect on him. He'll most likely forget that I ever existed in his life. It would have been a much bigger problem if I had discovered it later when he was older, but for now, everything should be good. To be honest, I'm pleased I found out when I did. If this had occurred later, I'm not sure how difficult it would have been to deal with, especially emotionally. I might have developed a bond to the baby, making things even more confusing. I am also relieved that I was unable to bond with the baby at first. I had read about it online and discovered that many new parents face similar challenges, so I hoped that with time, I would bond with the baby like a normal father, but now I thank God that didn't happen. The remorse I felt for not connecting with him prompted me to confess it to Belle, revealing the truth. If I had bonded with the infant, I might not have found out. That is the only silver lining in this whole mess. Another source of relief is that in recent days, my parents have finally decided to back off, at least temporarily. I'm not sure what their future plans are, but happily they haven't texted or bothered me. It has just been radio silence. Now that I've had some time to evaluate my future, I'm thinking about moving out of the hotel and into an apartment near my workplace. At the moment, all I want to do is work and sleep. Of course, I can't remain at a hotel indefinitely. It'll get too expensive, so I approached a few acquaintances to put me in touch with a realtor. I'll see where it goes. I've also started responding to everyone who answered my email. Surprisingly, quite a few people expressed sympathy and compassion for me. I'm not sure if their worry was real, but I decided the nice thing to do was answer. Now that I think about it, they must have felt odd receiving such an email. The very least I could do was acknowledge them. Almost 90% of the folks in my family who received the email expressed sympathy and confidence that everything will be all right. The majority of the employees ignored the email, but a handful of my father's business associates responded in like. I thanked everyone, including a few folks I hadn't originally contacted. I'm guessing they got out from other sources, as I'm sure this spread like wildfire as family gossip. But as long as people reach out to express their sympathy, I'm fine with it. At the very least, they are not attempting to obtain additional information. It may appear needy, but right now I'm quite content to receive whatever lovely words come my way, whether they're true or not from friends or relatives, because no matter how unhappy I am, I still miss her. I miss being with her. I miss my parents and family. I miss when everything was normal, despite the fact that they betrayed my confidence. I believe it is quite reasonable for me to feel this way. It's not like I can turn a switch and stop caring. It will take me a long time to completely digest everything, but for the time being, I'm in a strange emotional limbo in which I'm unsure how to cope. I feel quite alone right now, but I suppose things will improve someday. I don't think I'll ever be able to totally accept it. Belle was the first woman I ever truly loved, but life won't stop for me. I still need to work. I still have to deal with all of the practical issues, and I have to keep going forward. It sucks, but that's the way it is. Update 3. Hello everyone. I filed a petition to disestablish paternity about a week ago, and both parents were summoned before family court. Of course, Belle lost her head over it. She didn't know how else to contact me, so she created a phony Facebook account and began phoning me over Messenger. This happened yesterday while I was at a meeting, so I had my phone on quiet. I hadn't even noticed it at first. Later when I checked, I discovered that she had contacted me approximately 12 times in 45 minutes. She had also sent me a slew of angry messages when I didn't answer. Apparently, she believes Kane and I have ruined her life. She told me that she did not break up with Kane after the pregnancy. Rather, he dumped her after discovering she was pregnant since he did not want anything serious. That's when she decided to continue with me knowing that I was committed to her. But then she discovered that Kane was the father, so she tried to contact him again. This time, he simply informed her to end the pregnancy since he was not ready to be a father and had no intention of committing to her. She kept attempting to reach him, but he simply ignored her. He eventually blocked her totally. She told me everything in her messages. Now she accuses me of abandoning her just as my brother did, and that, it appears, is how the two of us ruined her life by leaving her alone with a baby. Kane has made it abundantly apparent that he is not interested in raising the child with her. Even if she gets him to pay child support, she won't be able to make him a true parent, and now she claims she and the baby will suffer. I cannot understand how any of this is my fault. I can see why she believes Kane ruined her life, despite the fact that she had an affair with him knowing exactly who he was and that he disliked being tied down. But how does she blame me? The mental gymnastics here are insane. After reading her communications, it became evident to me that she only wanted to play the VY Tim. In any case, I didn't want to talk to her, so I blocked her. If she knows what is best for her, she will not argue the paternity issue and will allow me to disestablish fatherhood peacefully. This allows her to save time, money, and resources while focusing on getting Kane to step up and pay child support. She's pursuing the wrong brother. That's all I have to say about it. Anyway, the whole problem will be resolved in court, so I don't want to worry about it right now. In addition, I had my parents' support, but recently I believe they have chosen to leave me alone. In my pre-VYS update, I noted that they hadn't troubled me in a few days. Since then, they have not texted me at all. This could be the quiet before the storm, or they may discover they have already lost their reputation and investment. Making me apologize won't solve anything for them. According to what I've heard from a few relatives, my parents have gone utterly missing. They have canceled all of their social media accounts, stopped communicating with family members, and as far as I know, my father's business has been defunct for quite some time. People believe he is in the process of selling everything, which is why the company is closed. If that's the case, I know he'll be devastated. He was always quite proud of what he created. Well, my father is almost in his late 50s, so I hope he has enough SAVYNGS to retire. I don't believe he can start again and work for someone else at this point in his life. I am not on good terms with him right now, but I know he used to work hard. Perhaps he messed up recently, but he had always tried to be a decent parent to me, so I hope everything works out for him. That being said, I hope I don't have to speak with him for a while. I'm just not prepared for it yet. Even without me, they still have Kane. He makes a nice VYing, and I don't think it bothers them that he is rarely at home. He does not have a family, and I doubt he intends to establish one. So if my parents don't have enough SAVYNGS, they can always rely on Kane. He may become their retirement fund, and honestly, I hope Belle does the same thing. I hope she gets some child support from him. That'll be enjoyable fun for me, but not so much for him. But after everything he's done to ruin my marriage and the life I've created for myself, that's the least I can hope for him. Anyway, that's all for now. I'll post again if anything more happens. Please keep me in your prayers, and thank you all again for your love and support. Update 4. Hello guys, I haven't posted here in a while since I've been quite busy. I suppose my pre-VYS update was about 5 weeks ago, but in the interim, I was able to officially end paternity. That means I will not be paying child support or accepting any responsibility. It was a major VY for me, especially since I assumed she would try her hardest to drag it out. Fortunately, she did not contest it. I believe she realized that opposing it would be a waste of time, money, and resources. Clearly, the family court judge was no fool. She had already refused to comply and pro-VY to the paternity test results, so I had to do them separately, but this was not going to influence the outcome. She could have kept it for as long as she wanted, even 10 years, but it would have made no difference because I was not the father. Anyway, I was able to verify that the infant was not my biological child, and because I had only been in his life for 4 months, the court determined that my absence would have little influence on him. That is how I obtained what I desired. Since then, I haven't spoken with Belle, and happily, she hasn't bothered me. My parents' firm has been sold, and they are preparing to relocate. According to a handful of cousins, they've only told a few indie VY duels where they're going those who have stuck by them during this whole ordeal, but really it's not difficult for me to guess. I believe they are relocating to my uncle's home in Iowa so that my mother can join her brother in managing the farm they inherited from their parents. This was always her plan. She had offered it to my father several times over the years, but he had no desire to leave the city. They used to argue about it a lot. Now he does not really have an option, so he has finally agreed. At the very least, my father will continue to be a member of a family business, albeit not the one he had hoped to lead indefinitely, but all of that is in the past. I've been trying to move on from what happened. I have been going to therapy. I have been going to the gym. I have been actively working on myself. I wouldn't claim I fully recovered, that would be a lie, but I am in the process of MOVYing on. Some days are excellent. Some days are especially difficult, but I am getting by. Update 5. It has been over 6 months since my pre-VYS update. A lot of time has passed, and I'm feeling considerably better. I was promoted at work, most likely as a result of all those months spent immersing myself in work to keep myself distracted. Certainly not a healthy coping strategy, but at least something positive came from it. Also, I'm officially divorced. It was finalized a few months ago, but I forgot to mention it here because there wasn't much to DVYda, and she didn't want alimony. The process was rather simple. We simply had to wait for the necessary time period to pass before it could be finalized. So yes, we're officially divorced now. I haven't seen her since then, but a few weeks ago I learned from some common friends that she had moved back in with her parents. She's currently raising her son with them. Until lately, she had been living independently in the property we used to share, but I suppose she can no longer afford the rent without me. Perhaps she merely wanted extra assistance from her parents. Honestly, hearing this bit of gossip prompted me to post this update. I hadn't given it much thought because I've been so busy, but when our mutual friends informed me of her condition, I felt compelled to return here and share. As for Kane, I believe he is the only one who has come out of this disaster undamaged. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little jealous of him. According to what I've heard from relatives, he appears to be doing well, but at the end of the day, he remains a home wrecker. He is still a bad person, so I believe karma will catch up with him someday. Meanwhile, I'm going to focus solely on myself. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.